back to Footy Moments with Nabila. On today's episode, we'll be hitting the street and testing your knowledge of the round letter game in Footy on the Street. We'll also be exploring the life and times of football legend Ian Wright on our regular segment called Where Are They Now? This and so much more to unpack on this episode. But first, let's meet our guest. Women in football is an interesting phenomenon, whether they be footballers, administrators, or as the case may be today, broadcasters. My guest today is shifting boundaries and blazing a trail in the world of football journalism, and she's doing it with so much panache and grace. Welcome to Footy Moments with Nabila. My name is Nabila Fash.
She was born in the UK and lived most of her life there. But eventually, she decided to switch lanes and come back home. Ace sports broadcaster Toyin is our Footy Moment star. Growing up, Toyin always had a passion for sports and got her shot in track competitions at the secondary school level and was pretty quick on her feet but never went professional. The graduate of mass communications decided to channel her talents to the screen instead of the field. Toyin currently presents Monday Night Football and Africa Sport on ASO on SuperSport and is popularly called Toyinoflife by her fans.
Welcome, Toyinoflife, to Footy Moments with Nabila. We are so honored to have you in our studio today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Wow, Toyin. From London to Nigeria, then SuperSport. How did that happen?
A little bit of preparation meets an opportunity. It was the perfect combination of the two factors. So at the time I was living in the United Kingdom. I'd come for Christmas. I think it was just a thing when it's Christmas time, you come home. So I was doing a lot of freelancing work. I think the issue they had was they were always looking for somebody to come to games and cover behind the scenes, but they always said there was no budget. And I think I understand here that people, if they're not being paid, they're not ready to do. But I felt that it would have been a good opportunity, or that it was a good opportunity just to put my feet in the Nigerian terrain and see how things work here. I did that for a few Christmases, complimentarily. And what happened was that footage turned into what was essentially a showreel that was used to peddle me to some of the bosses in South Africa. So when the idea came up for the show, it was like, let me do my South African accent. I think she'd be perfect. And the rest is history.
Wow, interesting. I know with the work hours, it's never easy. So how have you been able to balance your work life and your personal life?
I think it comes from where I was doing my work experience. I was working extremely unsociable hours. So I already had an orientation that this is exactly what it entails. And I think once you zero your mind into that, it's not as glamorous as it looks. The finished product might look glamorous, but the actual work you must graft. You must know what you're talking about. You must be competent. I went in knowing what I was going into. My personal life, I'm always happy to let the people around me understand that work is work, and there's a very good reason that I'm putting in the work now, so that later on down the line it won't be as intense.
I know there is something about women in sport, especially football. It's a male-dominated field. Do you need to work extra hard to prove yourself? And if yes, how do you do it?
Thank you, that's a fantastic question. You definitely do. I think you know this as well, especially in Nigeria, because it's a patriarchal society. And then on top of that, being in a sports broadcasting domain, it's as alpha male dominated as you can get. I found that I had to consistently prove myself. You have to be knowledgeable because there are people looking to make you look silly as possible,
So
or
true.
just to highlight that nah babe, waiting she go do self,
She
see am.
cannot talk sports.
So I'm always on top of my game, just making sure that I know what I need to know, and I also really hone the skill of working at the drop of a hat. The second something changes, especially working in live broadcast, I'm already ready to deal with it and tackle it. So yeah, it's I like a challenge, and it's a challenge that I've always been able to deal with.
You know, there's still so much to come talking to Toyin of Life. But first, let's go on a break, and we're taking you to Footy on the Street. We'll be right back.
That's a very technical question. Not everybody that can answer the question. Actually, me, I can't answer the question.
My understanding of the meaning of UEFA is the Union of European Football Association.
That one is a technical question. The full meaning.
I have no idea at all. Alright, thank you.
I have no idea because I don't watch football.
Okay, the full meaning of Europa is Champions League football. That's my own little understanding.
Union of European Football Association.
Welcome back. We're still talking to Toyin of Life. Toyin of Life, how did that come about?
Well, actually, for those that don't know, that's my Instagram handle.
Yeah.
So I find that my Instagram handle was created because I have been
Chop
addressed
life.
as there's chop life, but I think yes, I'm a lively person, so it just sort of stuck. There are people that call me just of life, you know, Toyin of the universe. It's always like Toyin of something grand. I don't know if that's a reflection of my character or what have you, but I suspect that it's something related to that. But I think it's particularly because of my handle that I'm called Toyin of Life.
You know, before we went on the break, you said something about the challenges being a woman in this male-dominated field. Can you share with our viewers like incidences you found yourself that made you like question yourself, like are you in the right field, or should you work harder or just walk away?
Okay, well, being a woman in broadcast, I remember one incident where there was no makeup artist available, and it was like, okay, what's she gonna do now? Oh yeah, do your makeup. There's no makeup, and it's like, you know, if you have a guy, it's easy, maybe a bit of talcum powder, or they don't necessarily need that kind of. But I still did the job. I wasn't particularly made up, but I gave it my best effort and just went on with it. It's, you know, just to show that, okay, even if this isn't there, it doesn't mean I'm not going to work. Obviously, you know, we like to feel as glamorous as well. And I think that's the advantage of having women in football. There's a touch of glamour and elegance that we bring to the field.
You know, talking about that, I know like people have a perception about how a female football broadcaster should look. Some will be like, you should look like a tomboy. They're not used to this, you know, like, you know, they're not used to all them glam, but I think it's us changing the way people see women in football or in sport. There are a lot of young women looking up to someone like you, Toyin.
Someone like you.
Thank you. They want to be in this field. What advice do you have for them?
I think that you have to do a lot of research. Understand exactly what it is you want to do, where your area of interest is, and master it. It's reading, being current with what's happening. It's not just a matter of sitting in front of a camera and then it rolls. What comes out of your mouth is a reflection of what's happening in your mind. Sometimes it happens to me, especially in live broadcasts, where your mouth thinks faster than your brain is going, but it's just about knowing how to pick up and recover and just continue going. So I'd say that anyone that is aspiring to, you need to understand what it takes to be a good presenter, understand journalism, the ethics and, you know, the theoretical parts that govern going into being a journalist and being a successful one. look at people in not just necessarily female presenters, but even male presenters that are doing really well at what they do, and how you can bring your own personal flavor to what you can see and just marry it and create your own brand of who you are. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then always be prepared, because preparation and opportunity, that's your moment. And sometimes you only get one chance.
You know, you can only get that on Footy Moment with Nabila. You need to pay for all this, you know, advice coming from Toyinoflife. Hi there. On today's segment of Footy Talent Discovery, we are visiting Kidsport FC here in Lagos, Nigeria. This academy is doing a lot for underprivileged children and also teens in their city.
We're basically hosting 1 or 2 events on Campus Square that ran for like close to 9 years. Last year was 10, but we didn't do it because of COVID. So we just decided, Auntie Bukola, my partner, Bukola Idem, my partner, my boss, you know, my mama, you know, she gave me a round. I'm like, you know what, I want to start a franchise. I want to start Kidsport. You know, let's see what we can do with these kids. And I'm like, oh, this is a good one. Let me jump on board. You know.
I can only say that they are the best academy I've ever seen, because they have the best coach, best training, best equipment, everything, just best.
Sheyi, you are the real definition of small but mighty. We love to put the spotlight on you because you are the star of Kidsport FC. So for me, position wo lo ń play ní Kidsport FC?
Left winger.
Left winger. So ta ni o fẹ́ dàbí tó bá ti dàgbà? Ta ni role model ẹ? Leo Messi. And the club wo lo fẹ́ play fún ní future?
Barcelona.
We have so many talented players all over Nigeria, even far away from Nigeria, that needs to be discovered, and with little support we can do more for them. That is why talent discovery is here. This industry, we keep saying, you know, is male dominated. I've had Super Falcons. They've complained about inequality in the paychecks for the female footballers. How, you know, their male counterpart get more money than they get. What do you think we can do to solve this problem?
I mean, when we look at the gender inequality and the disparity in pay between the Falcons and the Super Eagles, I think you can relate it to football in the wider context that even in the international community, female footballers are paid significantly less than their male counterparts. I think some of that is just around public interest as well, because you see that the kind of endorsements that the male players get are substantially higher than what the females get. And if you go onto the streets of anywhere in the world and you say name 3 female football players, a lot of people would be pressed to name. And if you say name 3 male football players, they'll be able to do that. You'd be like, you know, stop, that's enough, it's enough. So I think that maybe a bit more sensitization in terms of marketing and the push, but then when it comes to marketing, people go with numbers. It's easier to push Ronaldo than it is Lucy Bronze.
Very true. Okay, talking about Nigeria, you know, our local league is not exciting as the Premiership or La Liga. What do you think we can do to make the MPFL more exciting?
I think when we talk about the actual game, if you look at the athleticism of Nigerian players, they're actually some of the most gifted players we have. I think it comes from the actual infrastructure in terms of the stadiums, the condition of the grass that they play on, even the welfare of the players. You hear a lot of players complaining about not being paid for multiple months. And I think you have to understand that football isn't just a physical game, it's a psychological one. So if somebody is worrying about bills that they have to pay or outstanding payments that they haven't been given, I think that that will take a toll on their play. So there's a lot that needs to be invested into it. And what breaks my heart is that we actually have individuals that have the capacity to invest in the league and actually change things, but for whatever reason, they'd rather have a season ticket at Old Trafford. I mean, I know many people in government, for example.
Should we get controversial and just say, is there like a mismanagement of funds for the MPFL? Who should we hold responsible?
I think that more money could go into it. But then as you've addressed the topic of management, if it's not being managed on a smaller level, it's safe to say that with more investment, it will be managed the same way. You know, we read about this, we hear about this. I haven't personally seen anybody take anything, but you can see that there's a lot to be desired. And I think I'll be doing an injustice to sit here and lie for anyone. I won't, because we know that mismanagement of funds happens and that things can be better done. Even when we look at how the Falcons, the welfare for them, a lot more can be done. So yeah. It's always a difficult one to answer, because when you talk about this kind of thing, you're putting yourself, especially on the platform that I'm on.
I know.
But truth has to be said. I think that things, and we all agree, all Nigerians agree, things can be better.
Okay, so we're talking about how exciting the Premiership is. And Toyin, you are an avid Arsenal fan.
I am. Everybody that knows me knows that.
I don't know how did you do that? Like the heartbreak, Arsenal. Seriously?
The one thing that I'll first and foremost say is that anybody that you know that supports Arsenal, I think we'll all agree on one character trait. They are loyal people. It's loyalty. I mean, it's sheer loyalty for your team to consistently...
But I know there was a Ghana fan, I don't want to call her name, that actually switched.
Oh, okay, yeah, we know that one. But you see, she was never a loyal person. Whoever she may be. Because I've said that people that actually genuinely support Arsenal are loyal people, just loyal traits. Yes, my love affair with Arsenal started at the age of about 9, 10. It was just me and my 2 brothers, and obviously with my dad. If we're sitting in front of the TV, they're watching football, I have no choice. I'm outnumbered. My mum never really had interest in anything sport related or what have you. So I just found myself naturally gravitating towards Arsenal and this team. And I remember at the time, Dennis Bergkamp, I mean, I remember when the kit was sponsored by JVC, that's when my love affair started. And for some reason, I don't know why, I really liked David Seaman.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I just particularly liked David Seaman, and that was where I never met him, and up until now, I never actually got to meet him. But I do remember that, like when I'd look at the papers, I'd be reading about David Seaman and his antics off of the field. So yeah, I think I was just particularly gravitous towards Arsenal.
Okay, so talking about Arsenal, we know like from the years you've loved Arsenal, there are like legends that people are wondering, where are they now?
Right.
What are they doing?
Right.
So let's take a look at the times of a legend, Ian Wright.
And I just said right, right.
We'll be right back.
Ian Edward Wright, MBE, was born in 1963 and is an English former professional footballer, television and radio personality. In his time on the pitch, Wright played with London clubs Crystal Palace and Arsenal as a forward. He went on to win the Premier League title with Arsenal and the European Cup winners. With 581 league games, 287 goals, 33 caps for the English national team and 9 international goals, Wright is by far one of the most remarkable footballers of his time. As of 2021, he was on record as Arsenal's second highest scorer of all time. Upon retirement, Wright took up active engagements in media, contributing to football-related TV and radio shows. He is currently a pundit for BBC Sport and ITV Sport.
Welcome back. Wow, what a player Ian Wright was in his days.
Absolute legend.
A legend. You know, we actually put the spotlight on him just because of your love for Arsenal.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So moving on, Toyin. You know you make money from this thing called sports.
I'm not on Forbes list.
You will soon be. You will soon
Amen.
be.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Amen. So how do you spend your money?
How do I? Food.
Food.
Food. I actually like I like food. So,
Food?
Yes, food is
All that money on just food. Oh,
good food.
Don't tell me you
Fine
are like
dining.
them in Aso Rock there. Okay.
Okay,
We'll
it doesn't reach like that, ma'am. It doesn't reach like that. I don't have that kind of 5 billion for food budget. I'm not a nation to be to be shopping like that. But okay, I do have a sneaker obsession. Anyone that knows me, I've been like that since.
So how many sneakers do you have? Like 100?
No, less than now.
I should come read your.
Less than.
I should come read your wardrobe.
What size are you?
40. We wear the same size, no?
No.
Size 8?
No, I'm much smaller.
You're lying.
No, sincerely.
Okay.
38.
38. Okay.
But you're a very elegant lady, and you wear your heels really well.
Yeah, you know.
But yeah,
Heels.
that is my expenditure actually. Food, sneakers, and obviously bills.
Bills.
My
Yeah.
tax.
Okay. Good.
Then I have people
Don't
that send
worry.
me messages.
Nobody is coming for us with
Good
the
morning,
tax.
ma. How are you, ma? Challenges, ma. So yeah, that's the other side of it.
Okay, Toyin. What legacy do you want to leave behind?
I think I would just like to, I'd be satisfied knowing that the space I came into, people coming into it after me are able to navigate much easier and also be respected more within the space. So, improvement. Yeah, someone that came in and improved things.
Wow. Guys, tell me you didn't enjoy this episode with Toyinoflife. You know, keep watching Footy Moments with Nabila. And for more updates, follow us on our social media handles on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Until next time, stay safe and keep playing.